What's up, 7th grade? Let's really get this Mishnah clear at the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. So the case is that Reuven and Shimon come to the stand. They say that Moshe has to pay our friend Bill $1,000 within the next 30 days. Moshe says, it's true, I do owe $1,000, but not for 10 years. Turns out Reuven and Shimon are Huzam. Question is, how much are Reuven and Shimon going to have to pay? So our Mishnah tells us that we evaluate how much would Moshe pay for the rights to have extra time to pay back the loan, right? We don't always have the cash right away. We like a little bit of wiggle room to have extra time to pay back. So what Reuven and Shimon are doing is being mafsid Moshe the leisure of wiggle room to pay back for extra time. So Reuven and Shimon have to pay the amount of money that Moshe would pay for the rights to hold on to this money longer, to pay back later. Okay? So let's see that inside. Says the Mishnah, Ma'idin anu b'ish ploni, we, Reuven and Shimon, are made on ish ploni, on Moshe, shu chayv l'chaver el zuz, that he has to pay his friend, Bill, $1,000. Okay? Amanas line lo mikan v'ad shloshim yom. And the condition on that loan was it has to be paid within 30 days. Within 30 days, Moshe needs to pay Bill $1,000. V'hu omer, but Moshe says back, mikan v'ad eser shanim. I have 10 years. Not 30 days. Turns out Reuven and Shimon are Huzam, so we have to evaluate. Omdin kama adam rotza litain. How much would Moshe want to give? V'yu biyado elef zuz, and these $1,000 will stay in his hand. Bein nos mikan v'ad shloshim yom, between from here and 30 days. Bein nos mikan v'ad eser shanim, or between here and 10 years. How much would Moshe pay for the rights to extend the loan longer, from 30 days to 10 years. And whatever that amount is, that's what Reuven and Shimon took away by saying that the due date was earlier than it really was. And that's what they have to pay Moshe when they become Huzam. Now the Gemara is going to talk about something else, and we're going to use our Mishnah as a kashas. Okay? So let's see the Gemara. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. You know what? Let's do question 1 first. Question 1 is going to be on the Mishnah. Question 1 on the Mishnah is how much do Reuven and Shimon have to pay Moshe when they become Huzam? Question 1, how much do Reuven and Shimon have to pay Moshe? Okay, now let's start the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Shmuel. Hamava es chaver la'eser shanim, shvius mishamtato. If somebody gives their friend a loan for 10 years, they actually don't have to pay back because Shvius shuts down the loan. Every 7th year, the Torah says you don't have to pay back your loans anymore. Okay? The Afal Gav. And even though the Hashta lo Krinabe lo Yigos, even though that right now, in the 7th year, it technically shouldn't be a problem of lo Yigos. This pasuk says that on the 7th year, you're not allowed to go pest your friend, hey man, pay back, pay back. So even though that technically on the 7th year, this shouldn't be a problem of Shimon going to Reuven saying, pay up your loan, because even after the 7th year, you still have the 8th year and the 9th year and the 10th year, Shimon can go and get the money back. However, as the Gemara says, second line, Sof as liyari lo yigos. Once the 7th year comes, we kind of put a stamp to passel the shtar. The shtar, the document, can no longer be used to collect the money. Once the 7th year comes, it cancels the loan. And even on the 10th year, it's still going to be a problem of lo yigos. Sof asi liyade lo yigos. So at the end of the day, on the 10th year, we are going to be still brought to lo yigos. Okay? Meisiv Rav Kahana. So Rav Kahana is going to ask from our Mishnah, hey, Shemitah's mishamet? Then what's going on in our Mishnah? As we quote the Mishnah again, Omdin kama adam rotza litain. We have to evaluate how much Moshe would want to pay you elef zuz biyado to keep that $1,000 in his hand. Beinli to mikan v'ad shloshim yom. Beinli to mikan v'ad eser shanim. How much should Moshe pay for the rights to keep that money for the extra time between the 30 days to the 10 years? From the 10 years that he really had and the 30 days that Reuven and Shimon are accusing he has to pay back in. And the question is, V'i amr shvius mishamtito. And if you're going to say that Shvius is really mishamet, that the loan is shut down, then really what the Mishnah should say is kulo nami boy shlumi lei. Reuben and Shimon should have to pay the value of the whole loan. Because if the loan was really for 10 years, Moshe never has to pay back. Okay, so he doesn't pay anything. Reuben and Shimon say it's due within 30 days. And now Moshe has to pay back. So they're putting $1,000 on Moshe that he never had to pay. Now that Reuben and Shimon are Huzam, Reuben and Shimon should have to pay the whole thing. Okay? Answers the Gemara, no. We're talking about a specific case. Amarava, hachba mayaskinon b'mava al mashkin u'b'moser shtarosav lebeistin. We're talking about two specific cases. Number one is malva al mashkin. Okay, so we had our case that Rabbi Forgash gives $10,000 to Yosef Hecht to borrow money. He gives $10,000 to Yosef. Yosef has to pay back within a few years, let's say 3. And to make sure that Yosef comes to pay back, I take his knife. I take his knife as a mashkin, as a collateral, and he's not going to get that knife back until he gives me the money. So we look at it that when he gave me the knife, although it has nothing to do with the payment of the loan, but halachically we look at it as if he started to pay for the loan already. So even if Shemitah comes over those 3 years, doesn't matter. Yosef will still have to pay me back because we look at it as if he already to start to pay the loan. Okay? That's option 1 to explain the Mishnah. Option 2 is that you passed your star to Beis Din. Rashi explains this is something called a pruzbol. If Yosef and I had made this loan and Shemitah is going to come in the middle, maybe I wouldn't want to give the money to Yosef because I'd be scared he wouldn't pay back before Shemitah, and Yosef's not going to pay back. So what am I going to do? Obviously, I would never give Yosef the money to loan. So the rabbis, they said that we really want Jews to love each other. We want them to give loans to one another, be friendly. So we're scared that Shemitah might cause a problem for that. We, Beis Din, will take the achrayus, we'll take the responsibility to pay back those loans lost during Shemitah. So at the start of the loan, Yosef and I will go to Beis Din, and we'll sign a pruzbol, and Beis Din will take on the responsibility to pay me back in the event that Yosef doesn't pay back before Shemitah. So there's the two options to explain our Mishnah. We have to evaluate how much would Moshe pay for rights to extend the loan longer. And we asked, well, hold on a second, shouldn't Shemitah be mishamed? Shemitah should cancel the loan, and Moshe wouldn't even have to pay. So shouldn't Reuben and Shimon have to pay full? And we're answering no. The two cases to explain the Mishnah are either that Moshe collected, or Bill collected a mashkin from Moshe, or they went to Beis Din and they got a pruzbol. So the question number 2 I want you to write down on your sheet is that the two different ways how to explain the Mishnah that we just said, our mem word and our pay word. Okay. And then they bring a brisa, a Mishnah to explain that. It's not hamava al mashkin. If you loan on a mashkin, v'hamoser shtaros of a Beis Din, or if you pass the shtar to Beis Din and you get a pruzbol, ein mashmitin. Then we say we're not mishamit the loan. Okay. And just a quick joke before we introduce the Ikad Amri. So Humpty Dumpty, he really likes autumn. You know why? It's because that he always has a great fall. That's why. And now, just to set up the Ikad Amri, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Hamava es chaver le'eser shanim, ein shvius mishamtato. So if you give your friend a loan for 10 years, shvius is not mishamet. According to this Lishna Basra, the later lashon inside the Ikad Amri. So Shemitah is not mishamet. And if you understood the first part of this shir, which we've gone over a few days, hopefully it's starting to click, then you should be able to run through the Lishna Basra if you have questions about that. So bring them to me tomorrow, but also make sure to bring those 3 answers on your sheet. Oh, if we didn't ask the third question yet, so the third question is going to be, what is the difference between the Lishna Kama to the Lishna Basra? From the first way that the Gemara explains the Brisa and the second way inside the Ikad Amri. What's the difference between the first brisa and the ikeda amri. Okay, so with that, I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.